Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of uh, Artifact Hunter. This is episode 3. Uh, I'm Mike, I'm your DM for the night, and I'm here with my 3 players. So I'll throw it over to them and let them tell you who they are and what they do. So we'll start with Robin first.
Hi, I'm Robin. I am playing Meadow. She's a bard and she is a tabaxi with the soul of a house cat.
And below Robin is Art.
Hi, I'm Fireside. I play Arden, who's just a generic, run of the mill human cleric who has seen a little bit of the world, but not enough to figure out that not everyone is nice. A bit naive. Nice guy.
Hobbit, I think if he ever had a boss, he would realize that not everybody's nice. Um, so,
Uh,
and and next to Arden is LaFall.
Hello, I'm LaFall. I'm playing a Varial Ranger. Name is Arya. Um, no one knows I'm a Varial elf yet, so they just think I'm an elf.
Right. Yeah, because you haven't actually flown yet, have you?
Nope, and my wings are folded over looking like a cape. Just a feather cape.
Yeah. So, and last we played this game, we left you guys in the uh, very restricted uh, special collection section of the uh, library that's housed in the Cleric Hospital in Qatar. They they had just escorted you up there when we had to end the game. Uh,
and we are looking for information on this possible artifact that may or may not be causing earthquakes.
right. Or any number of other things that you haven't experienced yet.
Oh,
Like
I see.
that little crevice in the ground that you guys had to get around uh,
All right, on our horses.
to get there. See, that's the great thing about this thing, because nobody knows what it. There are rumors of what it can ultimately do, but nobody knows the other things that it can possibly do.
Do we want to know?
Probably not.
That's your choice. uh, okay, so uh, the person who brought you up there has just left, and now the three of you are on your own.
Oh, don't do that.
The only thing the person told you before they left was please wear gloves, don't damage any books, and you can't take anything with you.
Yeah, I'll bet these books are older than all of us combined.
Yeah.
Well, who's up on ancient possible mystery artifacts? literature. It wasn't a course. It wasn't a course I remember from Cleric College.
You're the closest thing that we got to this
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, because a tabaxi and a ranger's gonna know less than a cleric does about stuff
A
like
bard and
this.
a ranger, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my suggestion is we just each grab a big stack of books off the shelves and start pawing through them, so to speak.
except these books are ancient. No pawing.
You have to
Okay,
wear
carefully. Pawing
yeah,
through carefully
yeah,
through
you
them.
have to wear gloves. So,
Yeah.
which means the claws can't come out yet.
No, no claws, I promise.
I don't suppose it would have helped to ask directions. Do the ancient clerics have a Dewey Decimal System or something? Oh my
Well,
god.
well, basically, you're looking for books on, you know, history and myths of the area to see if you can figure out anything.
Ancient myths. Yeah. We'll end up reading about Farmer Bob and what he gets up to with the sheeps at night.
Well, hopefully that is just myth and not reality.
Well, in that case, Farmer Bob's not saying anything, and you'd have to ask the sheep.
Yeah, but his nosy neighbor Alice might have something to say about it.
Well, yeah, because there's always one of those.
Of course. At least one.
All right.
But
The smaller the village, the more of them there are.
I'm going to start with the book that looks the oldest, and maybe there's something that to see if maybe it's been here or whatever we're looking for is something that has come into myth over time, or if it's something that predates the written history, things like that.
You know what? I'm gonna go find the cleric that brought us up there real quick.
okay,
And I'm
and
literally going to do the chaotic thing and just take a stack of books off the shelf and start going through them randomly.
um, let- Arden, give me a history check to see if you can uh, re- recognize what might be the oldest book in the room you're in.
9 plus 4, 13.
Mm, where to go? There it is. Um, you can make a close guess. You're not sure exactly what the oldest book in the room is. You'd have to look at all, all the pu- published dates, and that would take a long time.
Mm,
But you can make a close approximation just by how you know how the bindings on these books look.
mm.
So now I need you to give me a dex check to see if you can actually get the book. Because it's up on the one of the higher shelves in the room.
Another 13.
What?
Another 13. An 11 plus 2.
you try, but you realize that without a ladder, you're probably not gonna make it.
Is it like, do I think there's a specific book I'm at? Like, that's it? Or why would I be
Well,
so high up on the shelf?
you had decided to try for the oldest book in the room. There are three or four other books on that shelf.
Well, I'm going to look around for a ladder then.
Give me a perception check.
14. Decidedly
Uh,
average today. I'm okay with that. It could be worse.
least you're rolling double digits anyway.
Hey,
I have to disappear for just a second. The dog's begging me to go out. I did take him out before we started, but now he's squeaking at me. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
Come on.
You do find in the in the far opposite corner of the room, this old looking wooden ladder that looks like it's been there since the building was built.
is this a trap?
E- Even, even the even the clerics here do not very often go into the section of the library that you guys are currently in.
Does it look like it would hold my weight without, at least in my estimation, does it look, does it look like it's falling apart, or is it just old?
It's just old.
All right, so I'll kind of carefully make my way over there and pick up the ladder and bring it back. Is there an area around the shelf? Like, I'm not leaning against the shelf. There's like next to it or something.
Yeah. You can wedge the ladder between the shelf and the table and still climb up it.
I wouldn't really want to upset our gracious host too much.
In fact, give me an athletics check to see if you can do that.
8.
For some reason, you're just not getting the traction you need, so you go up the first couple of rungs and then it feels like you're slipping.
Well, that's not very inspiring. Um, I'm going to see if. Oh, she's gone. I was going to see if Meadow could get it for me. Or LaFall,
Well,
you could get that book, get to that book. Clerics aren't necessarily known for their deafness physically.
I went after another cleric.
yeah. While we're waiting for Robin to get back, we'll uh, stop the book thing here and we'll go uh, on to what uh, you went to get. Why do you want to get it? Bring the cleric back.
See if he can help us find the correct book area or book that we're looking for.
You make your way with some difficulty back out to where the main cleric hospital is. and the cleric that you're looking for that brought you up there is, you know, sitting at a small desk by the entrance door. He he's the one on duty that's a- answering the door if anybody comes. Um, he notices you and turns and says, "Oh, uh, how is the research going?"
Uh, I don't know what the other two are doing, but I came down here to see if you can at least help a little. We're looking for a book on an artifact related to Founders Day or any information thereof that you might have in your library.
Well, the those would be the oldest books in the library. Yeah, they'd be on the top, on the upper shelves.
Okay.
And yeah, the ladder's kind of iffy. We we've been meaning to replace that. Uh,
Okay. When you say kind of iffy, what do you mean by that?
I if you're heavier than a human, I wouldn't climb on it if I were you.
Okay. So
Um,
115 stones, would you say?
that would probably be the limit. But, but being that you're an elf, you should be lighter than your average human.
Yeah.
So you should be fine.
All right. Which shelving area would those ancient books be at?
Oh, the, they're on a shelf next to one of the main tables, but they are on the two highest shelves in the shelving unit.
Okay. How many books are there roughly that we should be looking through?
There's, as far as I remember, there should be at least three books on that subject. Uh, now, eh, eh, as a caveat, I want to say that, yeah, over the years we've had no way of really verifying whether these stories that are in these books are true or not.
Okay.
But because nobody in the modern era has gone, you guys are probably the first ones in the modern era that actually went looking for it.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Are these books also the same books that we could find at other monastery libraries that are in the other ancient towns?
No, the books would be if the other uh, cleric hospital libraries had books, they would be different
Okay.
because we don't have a way of mass producing them.
Okay. I just want to make sure they weren't copies that we'd be looking over, at least.
No,
All right. Thank you very much.
sure. And so you turn and head back up to the library. Uh,
Yep.
we'll say with a little difficulty, you remember how to get there. And when you get back to the room, you see that Arden has tried to use the ladder already, and Meadow is generally just she's uh, looking over a pile of books she put on the table.
Okay. Meadow, you can put those books back.
Okay.
The books we need are
So
up there.
I'm good.
up on the top. Okay.
Yep. So get the ladder, set it up.
I've already got the ladder there. I've just not been able to get up it.
Well, climbing is sort of my thing, so I guess I can go up the ladder.
I was going to ask.
Give me an athletics check with advantage.
Okay. 22 total.
You easily make it up to the top of the ladder. Now give me a perception check to see if you can find the titles you're looking for.
Okay. 10 total.
You're just sort of standing on the top rung of the ladder looking around, not really sure what you're looking at.
Okay, so I'll ask Arya if she has any specific like titles that she found out from the cleric or exactly what I'm
I'll look
looking
up and
for.
see if I see them.
In this particular section, the cleric said there were 3 books that you were looking for. He did not, however, give you titles.
No, he did not.
But uh, the upside to this is there are only 4 books on that shelf.
Okay, so let's take all 4 books down and
Yeah,
we'll
I was
just.
just gonna say I'll grab all 4 books then.
Um, so you grab those. Give me another athletics check to make sure you can get down the ladder while carrying the books and not fall and kill yourself.
Oh, goodness.
I'll land on my feet either way.
Not if you're carrying books, you won't.
Okay, let's see. Athletics.
Yeah.
17 total.
Okay. You make it down, no problem. Put the books on the table.
Well,
Uh,
Good news is we only have 3 books here to look through. Bad news is, Lord knows what the other libraries will have because they won't be repeating the same information. So,
Well, we're just. I mean, we might as well. We're never going to know if we don't look.
yep, that's what I'm just saying. We only have 3 books to look through here, but we still have to go visit the other libraries, find out what information they might know of it.
Um,
Right. Well, since there's 3 books, we should probably just each take one and see what we can find.
well, there are 4 books, but one of them is um, a book called "Ancient Foods of the Ancient Foods of This Valley." It looks like somebody went out exploring and ended up creating a cookbook. Um, but the other 3 are the ones you're interested in. Um, one is called Ancient Stories and Myths of the uh, Mysterious Crystal. One is is the crystal actually real? And the third one is, why hasn't anybody ever come back alive?
Oh, that's not ominous at all.
Ugh. I'll go with that one. I'll take why hasn't ever come back alive. And put my gloves on and slowly start and open the book.
Eh, So, which one are each of you just gonna take a book and
Yeah, I'll just take one of them and just start looking through it.
Yep.
so um, who took the book? Is is the crystal real? Which would be?
I ended up with that one.
We'll start with that one. You open it up and start reading through it. It seems to be written by the same person who wrote the cookbook. And after you read for a while, you realize why the 2 books were written by the same person. Uh, this person went exploring for the same reasons you guys are, except for the fact that most people believe that if the crystal is found intact, that it's worth a ridiculous amount of money and can be sold to the kingdom that wants it the most and is willing to pay the most for it. So most explorers go looking for this just because of monetary value, because they don't believe any of the myths or stories about its power. They're just like, oh, this is a large crystal that could be worth lots of money.
Yeah, famous last words.
I know, right?
Well, this person supposedly spent months and months uh, traveling, trying to find this thing. And he doesn't list the other planes of existence that he went to, but he does state that he has gone to a fair number of different planes looking for this thing.
Hmm.
And near the back of the book, he relates a story of how he was on a plane of fire and got very ill while looking for a piece of this on a plane of fire. And ultimately, looking for this crystal broke his sanity. And for some reason, he decided that uh, once he wasn't in full grasp of reality, he decided that what he needed to do to finish this mission was write a cookbook. So he did. So that's why those two books have the same author's name on them. Uh, he was not successful in finding shards of the crystal. In fact, nobody, even though he produced a cookbook, which the cleric's library still has, nobody has seen him since.
Spooky.
Um, and then book that's titled "Why Hasn't Anybody Come Back Alive?" This is a you know, straight up nonfiction book that asks the question, why hasn't anybody who's gone looking for the crystal ever returned? And it lists several expeditions over the decades and centuries looking for this crystal. None of the parties ever made it back. Now, there is a question, and this leads to several questions, which is, are these parties getting killed? Did one of the parties find the crystal and just take it and leave? Uh, and
Not saying anything.
didn't uh, bother to mention this to anybody. Uh, or more strangely, is there something about this crystal that will kill you if you get too close to it?
Hmm.
Because that's also a widely held speculation. and
Not a
then
very long book then.
get
Whoa. Is that me or
pardon.
did Mike freeze?
No, that's Mike going in and out.
Yeah, I think he froze for a second.
Uh, so, yeah. Uh, and as far as the third book, myths of the myths and legends of the valley and the area. It, this is a scholarly history book on myths.
Oh,
Does have a couple of chapters, like it, it does have a couple of chapters on the crystal.
so all the books have some kind of information about it.
Uh, it is believed that the crystal was created during the first reign of the dragon, when dragons ruled everything before humans ever appeared. Um, it tells a story of a lich and a uh, chaos dragon that worked together to create this crystal because the lich wanted ultimate power. And so, with the combination of the lich's magic and the chaos dragon's magic, they were able to create this thing. It, the you know the major problem being that when they created it and activated it, it basically ripped a hole in reality
I
Oh,
hate it
those
when
are
that
all fun.
happens.
because it
So much
was
fun.
it was it, it was they underestimated power this thing had, and and as most mages do, they underestimated, they overestimated their ability to control it,
Of course.
Yeah, that never happens.
and it ripped a hole in reality.
And it probably killed both of them in the process.
It killed the chaos dragon, the because the lich is dead to begin with.
No.
Hmm.
Uh, but even it barely survived. It was horrific. Uh, and at that point, the other dragons decided that this thing couldn't isn't safe for anybody or anything, and they broke it into existence so that it could never be used for anything again. Because the other dragons didn't like the, whole in reality concept. So, uh,
It tends to
they
put a
were,
damper on the day.
well, it does kind of mess up your plans, really. But uh, and it mentions, like the other book, that Soup's on searching for this, and no shards have ever been retrieved, and no party has ever returned. uh, that this author knew about at the time that he wrote the book. Now, all of these books are at least 100 years old, if not more. So many things may have happened between the writing of books and now. But this book does sort of go along with the idea that most people have about it right now, which is if the pieces were ever brought together, it would be a cosmic disaster.
Okay.
So,
Nice to know.
and on the last page of the book, even if you could find these things, why would you do it? Because whatever positive could be made of it, you're risking destroying reality itself just because of greed and power. And it's like he and you were able to rule over everything, it wouldn't be long and there wouldn't be anything to rule over. So,
I don't know that this sounds like our artifact though.
yeah,
No.
it never it never really described what the artifact looked like because nobody's ever lived to see it.
Well, it doesn't even sound like this crystal's the artifact we're after because it, well, there's been no description of the power other than ripping a hole in reality.
So the best you can gather because of the earthquakes that maybe a shard is waking up, the amount it takes to do.
So the shards might be sentient.
That is one of the other myths that uh, words are put back together, and you have one thing that at that point it becomes a sentient being.
So if these shards are what we're looking for, then we have to be really careful about keeping them apart if we find more than one of them, because that doesn't sound like such a great thing to me.
True, but nowhere in any of the books that we've looked at this point does it mention earthquakes. I mean, I might be the mystic one here, but I want to make sure that we're actually, yeah, I'm the one that prays to the deity every night, but I want to make sure that we're not chasing something that doesn't exist or
Well,
chasing the wrong thing.
So maybe what we need to do is find a book on like all any like is there a book that just talks about nothing but ancient artifacts? Maybe we that's what we need to look at. and see if one of those sounds like it what we're looking for.
Well, I'm curious if this has ever happened to the island before.
Well, maybe the next place we go and visit will have more information.
Basically, crystals, bad. Uh, Everyone who went looking for them died, and they were split apart so that nobody could find them again.
And if the ruling class
It's genuinely what it feels like.
yeah. So
Okay, what'd you say there, Mike? Because you froze
it's
up on me.
yeah, my we're having some storms here today, so looks like my internet is deciding to be a little weird. Um, I said that if the if the fear of it is so bad that the ruling race of dragons decided that this needed to be taken care of this way, you're looking at something pretty strong.
Maybe not the best idea to. I mean, it sounds like something that could, in theory, cause destruction of this kind, but why now? Why all of a sudden? And
That's
if that's what we're looking for, and there's not a natural cause, why isn't it mentioned in any of why is it mentioned in anything before? You kind of figure if someone's writing a historical context, something that's nonfiction, even if it is fiction and there's a kernel of truth to it, they would mention gigantic building destroying earthquakes.
well, it said these are 100 years old or more. Maybe when the book was written, it hadn't, you know, things like these earthquakes on the island hadn't happened yet. And, yeah, because you have 100 years between the date of that book and whatever date it is today. So,
Okay. Any other ideas?
Um, I say we go look at the other libraries, see what information they have on
Yeah,
found a day
that's what I
artifact
was gonna say.
issues.
Just keep heading from library to library, see what we can find.
Okay. I'm for that idea.
um, Arden, give me a perception check.
Natural 20 with a 5. 25.
Well, well, you, you being a cleric of this the same deity, I mean, then uh, that there was actually uh, inside one of the books, the book that you opened. Uh, you didn't notice it initially because it was smallish. You open that piece of paper, and it's a map of uh, Azeron as a whole. But the one thing that's different is in in the various kingdoms it has three or four little red dots. Look at the bottom of it. Is that this was a map made by the people in the cleric's temple that you're in. It lists all the names of all the cleric temples connected with that uh,
With the
deity.
crystal? Oh, with the
No,
deity.
with the deity.
Well, I would imagine there'd be a bunch of them. He's a cleric of Saloon.
There's like three or four in each kingdom. So you're looking at a total of maybe 30 or so.
A few.
And it keeps uh, temple list their temples in it.
We missed a good chunk of what you just said, Mike.
Um,
Sorry.
it's a map of Acheron with all of their temples listed in it. Why they do it, who knows? Maybe, maybe just a traditional thing, but now you pretty much know where all the temples in Acheron are.
Okay.
And if there's 30 of them, it means you've got 29 left to go.
Oh, goody.
And you have to decide what you're going to do with that.
Well, is there anything that we can. Anything that we. I know I said maybe we need a little more concrete evidence, but is there anything that we can. Like, is there some way we can weed these out using what we know about these books? Or what we've read in these books?
Oh, you mean narrow down the number of
Because if it's anything like any games I've played and with other clerics late night and stuff like that, we won't find it until the very last one.
I don't want to plan out 20 samples just so that it took you that long to find it.
I was trying to keep from too much of a fourth wall break. Well, okay. Do the dragons tell us anything? Not really.
Oh, you mean in the Book of Mist that told you the creation story for this. The dragons uh, actually give me a history roll.
Me? 15.
Um, it they don't give you a whole lot of information except for one thing.
It doesn't. I heard it doesn't give us a lot of information.
Ex- except for one thing. It says in the last chapter of the book that it took a tremendous amount of energy for the dragons to do this. To get a little of control over this crystal, they broke it into 6 pieces and magically those pieces different planes of existence that nobody would ever put this thing back together again. They don't say where, they don't say when. They just said that after much struggle, they were able to do this.
So does anybody know how many planes of existence there actually are?
As many as there are deities.
Oh, so these shards, if this is what we're looking for, really could be literally anywhere.
Each deity manifesting their own plane of existence to suit themselves. If that's what you meant.
Well, there can be more than one deity per plane, but yeah, there's a lot of them.
So, like I said, these things could be literally anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need some better way of narrowing this down if this is in fact what we're looking for. I'm open to suggestions. We could just try to go to the next one on our list.
Yeah, let's just head to the next library and see if we can find any more concrete information on this thing.
So I'm gonna hand the book to the people who are capable of getting up and down a ladder without falling off.
And guess who that would be?
Yeah, okay, so I'll take it. Oh no, I don't think I'm gonna try to take all 4 at once this time though. I'm just gonna take them up one at a time, put them back.
Okay, I need four athletics checks.
Of course you do. Okay. Okay, so that one's a 9. That isn't right. That one's an 8. Oh, I didn't add the 18. That was a dirty 20. Oh, that one's a 7. And that was an 18. So two good ones and two not good ones.
We'll say that the first two books you were able to get back on the shelf fairly easily. But by the time you tried to make the third and fourth book, for some reason, you had difficulty climbing the ladder. And
Hey, I'm still recovering from my almost dying in the pit of doom, so you know.
so I'm gonna combine the last two and basically say you get about halfway up the ladder and then for some reason you fall.
Wow.
And you land, unlike most cats, you land flat on your back.
Oh, that looked
Before
like
I
it
get
hurt.
up,
Are you okay?
I'm gonna get up real quickly and do the whole, I meant to do that. That
Hey,
was
don't.
totally on purpose.
Um, please forgive me for this, but don't your people usually land on their feet? Or is that a myth?
I usually and honestly I was expecting to, so I'm not quite sure what happened there.
That that doesn't work every single time. I've seen cats land on their backs and they're not happy about it when it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, so at least the books didn't land on top of me or anything.
Yeah, if you'd have botched one of them, they would have landed on you and knocked you out. But
Jeez,
uh,
that would have been really embarrassing
but
to actually.
as it is, you landed flat on your back and the bugs landed on your stomach. And so
So I'm gonna blame the ladder. I'm like, there's something wrong with that ladder, obviously.
Well, hey, I didn't make it all the way up there.
and uh, because of the noise that this made, what you see a female cleric walk in the room, and she's like, "What in the world was that? And are you guys okay?" And, yeah, and she sees Meadow laying on the floor with two of the books on her stomach.
I'm
Yeah,
okay. He's okay. She's on her back, falling off the ladder.
yeah. That
Yeah,
you heard. Whoever warned us about that ladder wasn't kidding.
Mm.
yeah, we need to replace that ladder. And she walks over and picks up the two books and puts them back on their shelf.
Oh, it's real easy for her.
Um, she's a human with these decent length arms, so yeah. So she, after she does that, she turns to you and says, "Is there anything I can help you with while I'm here?"
I think we've gotten all the information we need here. Thank you.
Well, do you know anything about this Founder Day myth explosion thing?
Oh, you you mean the myth about the Founders Day crystal? Uh,
Yeah.
Pretty much just what the stories say. Eh, but I would advise that that I have heard the myth that nobody's ever returned. We say it's a myth because we haven't got concrete confirmation of any of that. But I would be extremely careful, and I would question who sent you on this journey. Uh, because if it is true that nobody comes back, you're heading into something you don't want to head into. Uh, but there again, that's up to you. I don't know what arrangements you've made, if any. And then, and then you see her face changes. Suddenly, it's got a rather confused, uh, like she's trying to remember something she can't remember. And then she says, oh, I do remember something. I was talking to one of the other clerics the other day,
And
and he had mentioned that uh, somebody else had been here asking to get into this section of books. They didn't have the proper connections to do so, so we didn't let them do it.
how long ago was this?
Actually, let me go find the person who said this to me, because they would be more accurate in telling you what happened than I would. So, wait here just a second. And she turns and walks out the door. Um, so, about 15 minutes later, she walks back in with us. Um, Fairly large. Uh, he almost looks like a bugbear, but he's in cleric's robes. And he introduces himself as um, Father Johnson.
Father Johnston.
Yeah, he says, yes, I know my last name is rather odd for a bugbear, but I was raised by humans.
No judgment here, Father.
And um, my colleague here has told me that you're looking for information on the crystal, and that uh, she told you the story uh, that I mentioned to her that somebody else had been looking for this. It was 3 to 4 days ago.
Hmm.
It was a party of 6. Um, well, no, 5 of them were orcs, but they were in cleric's robes, which was rather strange. Um, and the one who acted like the leader was it wasn't an orc. It almost looked like a demon of some sort. Uh, and it was wearing the same cleric's robes as the orcs were. And when we questioned them as to why they wanted the book or why they were looking up information on the crystal, they wouldn't say anything. Therefore, we wouldn't let them access the books. And they turned and left.
Hmm.
I don't know what their motives were, but yeah. So just a heads up that you're not the only ones, for whatever reason, looking for this information.
Well, if this crystal's as dangerous as some of these books make it out to be, then I don't think we want orcs and a demon finding any of the shards.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the best thing.
But um, I don't know where they headed at that point, but wherever they headed, they have a few days head start on you if you, if you end up going following the same direction.
Well, maybe we should ask at the next library we come to if they've seen if this particular group.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt.
Like I said, they didn't tell us anything, so I can't help you as far as that. But I I do agree that, you know, the last thing we want is for this crystal to end up in a demon's possession.
Yeah, doesn't sound like that would be, great.
No, not really.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, I've told you what I know. I need to get back to uh, my my pile of paperwork. So,
Thank you for your
well,
help.
Yes, thank
not
you.
Not a problem. I hope you find what you're looking for before they do. Uh, and with that, the two of them turn and walk out the door, leaving the three of you to decide what you want to do from here.
Well, a band of orcs is not always the best news. I did once see a play that had orc clerics in it, but it wasn't the kind of play that you would take your children to.
And I'm thinking orcs are bad enough, but a demon in charge of orcs? That sounds pretty formidable.
That sounds like a bad joke the headmaster tells all the time. An orc, a demon, and a cleric walk into a bar.
Yeah, the only way that's going to turn out well is if you can get the demon to pay for the alcohol.
Right.
I'll have to put that down on the list of things to avoid next time we're in town. I don't think there's anything else that we. I mean, it just seems to get stranger, and I'm thinking for a minute.
We still have no direction of where we should be heading to.
The only thing you have connecting you to a direction is the map you were able to find.
But you didn't say there was any specific markings on it. There's nothing that stood out other than just the
No,
different temples being marked.
that is all that's on them.
So maybe we pick the next closest one. And just start heading that way.
That sounds like
Well,
as much
no,
of a
we
plan
want
as
to
we've
stay.
got.
We want to stay on gathering the information. We gathered partial information here. We have two other ancient libraries of this place that we need to check before we start changing the direction that we're going.
In the temple we're at?
Not at this temple. There's two other temples. I
Oh,
forget
right.
what they were.
I remember this. Not all the temples had libraries.
Right. Ancient enough libraries.
Well, how ancient is 100 years in terms of everything else?
Well, that's the age of the book. You don't know how long the library's been there. Probably multiple centuries.
So then we would head to the closest temple, whichever one of the other two libraries is closest.
Right. No. Two. You could go to the administrator of the temple and see if they can help you figure out which are the next two oldest ones. Because the notes on the maps don't say anything about the ages of the temples themselves. They just show a location.
Okay, can do that.
So, as you're actually, as you're headed out the door, or you're headed near the door, the cleric that you had asked for help initially is sitting at his post by the door. And he turns to you and says, "Oh, how did the research end up turning out?"
A few more questions and answers.
Uh, isn't that the way research goes? You do it to find answers and end up just finding more questions.
Yeah,
Yep.
little piece of wisdom in a story I read about this wizard in a gray hat who was looking for a ring. And they had to read a lot of books to find it.
Well, I don't know why, but people always go searching for gold. It's like it's important.
Not so
Uh,
much gold, but powerful crystalline artifacts
well,
in this case.
yeah, well,
We already got the gold.
and it didn't change anything, did it?
No, it didn't.
See, see, I told you. Uh, so, you said more questions than answers. Is there anything I can help you with?
You don't happen to know what might be causing the earthquakes, do you? I mean, if you do, that'd be tremendously helpful.
Earthquakes? No. Didn't feel them up here. Yeah.
And nothing at all. I would have thought something as powerful as that you might have people would have noticed somewhere.
No. Or at least I didn't, anyway.
Well, we might as well ask him if he knows which of the libraries on this list are the oldest.
So we can. Who's got the map?
I thought you had it.
They're assuming you had it because you guys found it in the book that Arden was looking at.
No, I didn't pick it up. That's where crumble and go back. We're still in the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just crumble
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. You haven't left the building yet, but you find out that none of the three of you are currently holding the map.
And I'm gonna grumble back. I'm the cleric. I'm supposed to be the one that does all the writing stuff and pick up the map. I bet rangers don't ever get told to pick up the maps. Is the map still on the table next to where the book was?
It's actually it's actually not on the table where the book was.
I don't suppose the cleric could put those two books back as nearby.
No. Uh, are you gonna search the room for the map or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try just to see if maybe it fell on the floor accidentally. But I'm guessing one of the fastidious clerics found it and put it back.
Give, give me a investigation check.
19 plus 1.
You look around, and after a few minutes, you find the map partially folded, partially crumbled under a chair leg on the floor.
So I go pick it up and try to carefully unfold it.
And it is definitely looking a little worse for wear.
Put it on the table and try and carefully press out the wrinkles just so we could see it, and then walk back to the other two and the cleric. Okay, so good to know that I am the keeper of all things parchment and scribe related. I will note that for future reference.
You're the only thing that has anywhere close to what a writing utensil would look like.
So
So
if we find some ancient bow with markings on it and Lafal doesn't pick it up and carry it with her,
it stays there.
mhm,
Um, the cleric, as you walk up, the cleric looks at you and looks at the um, piece of parchment in your hand and says, "What in the world is that?"
it's a map of cleric temples. And I'd show it to him. We found it in a fairly old book on on journeys that people go on that they don't come back looking for these crystals.
Yeah, over the years there has been a few of those. Uh, After it happened the third time, we stopped sending people looking for them
Do
because
you know
we,
anything about these crystals, or is it just a matter of helping the people who come through trying to find them?
well, uh, there's a myth within our own, um, within the monastery's history that many centuries ago, the person who built the first cleric hospital, monastery, what have you, to this deity was in charge of guarding the crystal. Uh, that was several hundred years ago, so we don't know, like the rest of the myths surrounding this artifact, we don't know what's true and what's not. Um, but since we do have a connection, we try to help the people who are going to look for it. Um, but I have never seen this map before. What what is it you would like me to help with map wise?
Do you know which of these cleric temples on the map happen to have libraries, and which ones would be the oldest?
Well, they all have libraries to a certain extent. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Um, the, the two oldest, other than this one, are fairly close to each other. And he points to a cleric hospital. In a small town, a small village called Iron Forge. This is the single oldest temple to the deity that we pray to. It was founded by our founder in the small village where he lived. Um, he later opened another temple slash hospital in the neighboring village because the two villages had no health care at the time. And these two temples kept growing because of uh, as word spread that there was now healthcare in the area, people from all over the kingdom came to, to these two villages. Uh, the village of Iron Forge still exists. The village that the second temple was built on burnt to the ground, and the temple is the only thing that survives. Because at some point in the history of the area, there was a war, and they burnt the entire village except for the temple. But neither one are very far. I'd say they're about half a day's ride from here.
Well, what do we say to Iron Forge?
That's a good place to start.
Oh, by the way, just for point of information, the war was between the humans and the orcs.
Been a few of those over the years.
The humans ended up winning that battle, even though the village was destroyed. But I'm thinking if you want more information about the crystal, one of those two places would have it.
Well, my vote is Iron Forge.
Sounds good to me.
Uh, good luck on your journey. Good luck on your quest for information. I I hope this doesn't all turn out to be, you know, some story written by some drunken dwarf in a tavern somewhere. But
Wouldn't be the first time.
His name
no,
better not be Varric.
well, you never know. Dwarves think they can drink a lot and be fine, but eh, actually, if you don't know dwarven language, you wouldn't be able to tell anyway. So, it's like,
Good to know.
yeah. Well, if if you're a human, how are you going to tell the difference between sober dwarven and drunk dwarven?
Mm.
you know, but
There is a difference.
Right?
they claim there is.
You mean there's such a thing as a sober dwarf? I can't say as I've ever seen one of those.
It probably happens like
Just-
right after the sun comes up for like 10 minutes. But, you know, takes them that long to get to the nearest tavern.
Right.
But, good luck with what you're looking for. If you find this thing, let us know.
okay, we'll do our best.
And with that, he stands up and opens the cleric hospital door and escorts you outside.
What time of the day is it? Do we still have time to make it, or do we need to find a place to stay?
Um, it's it's actually about 3 in the afternoon.
So it's a half day's ride. Probably not enough time.
You, you get there probably 8 or 9 o'clock. It would be dark. And you probably wouldn't be granted access to the library at that time of night.
So
So, do you want to find food and a place to stay here? Do you want to ride out to Iron Forge and then find a place for the
places
night?
there. Yeah,
Find a place for the night while you're there, or what do you want to do?
I think that sounds like the best idea. Well,
What, go there, ride to Iron Forge and spend the night there? Yeah.
yeah, and then we've got the whole night. We've got the whole day tomorrow
Right.
to look around and see what we can see.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what you're planning on doing. Um, well, so you you start on your trip. You head out of the gates of Cutter, and via the map, you find out that Iron Forge is straight north of Cutter. It's a half a day's ride straight north. So and your um, so you start off on your trip, and the first couple of hours go fairly um, easily. But starting the third hour around 6 or so, I need perception checks from all of you.
11 total.
17 total. 12 plus 5.
What about Aria?
13.
13? Okay. Because about 6 or so, you're riding, you're going along the road. The sun is starting to go down to a certain degree. It's not completely dark yet. And the one of your horses inadvertently steps into I don't really want to call it a hole because it's not that deep, but it's deep enough that when the horse steps into it, you definitely notice that the ground level has changed. Um, but Arden, since you got to 17, you look down and you realize what this is. It's an actual footprint.
Footprint big enough to make a horse stumble?
Yep.
Oh. Okay then. Hey, do you two see this?
What?
Then I just point down at what the horse has just stepped in.
Um,
That looks like a footprint to me.
Yeah, big one. Could it? And I kind of remember what the guy at the temple told us. I'm like, could that be an orc footprint?
Big enough to stumble the horse? Big, but they're not that big.
yeah, it's too small to be an orc,
Oh, okay.
or it's too big to be an
Oh,
orc.
okay.
Is that our demon?
Arden, I need another perception check.
23. 18 plus 5.
You notice that the ground inside the footprint looks like it's almost melted.
I I can see that the it's. Sorry, I was going to be snarky. It did come out right. Uh, well, that doesn't look like a normal footprint. I'm not an
And
expert on them, but it almost looks like the ground is melted or something happened to it.
so, what do the other two of you want to do?
Um, don't know what to do.
Um, well, I guess I could, like, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I guess I could try to examine the print and see if I can notice anything about it. Like, I still want to know where, what made this thing. I want to see if I can find any clues as to that by looking at it and study.
Give
Like,
me, give me an investigation check.
13 total.
So, as you get closer to the footprint, you get your nose closer to it. You notice the horse instinctively jump backwards. And then you realize why. Because you get your nose close enough to look at it. One of your whiskers touches the ground and it's hot.
The ground is hot,
Yeah,
like inside the footprint.
yeah. And it does indeed look like the ground inside the footprint has melted.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, what do you want to do?
Well, is there just one of? I mean, can we see? I'm assuming there's not just one footprint. Are there? Is there like a direction it's going in, or?
It's, if you look, if you look ahead of you, there is another similar footprint. It looks to be ahead of you and it looks to be going exactly the direction you're going in.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep heading where we're going, cautiously.
Mhm.
You almost have to. Although I'd keep an eye out for any more melted footprints.
Yes.
Does our resident ranger have anything to say about it?
I never run across anything like this before.
What all three of you are sure of is the horses don't like it.
Not even dragons would do this.
No, these are bigger. You would have, if a dragon did this, you're talking, the largest elder dragon you've ever seen. So, no.
This is
And
starting to sound more and more like the demon they were describing.
and it's not. the three of you have had enough. I, I won't say interaction, but you know enough about dragons that the footprint you're looking at is definitely not shaped like a dragon footprint would be. It's much more almost squarish, where a dragon's foot has toes and this doesn't.
This is a squarish footprint? Okay,
Yeah.
give us a description on it.
It's, um, it looks like a foot, but instead of toes, the top end of it is sort of squared off.
Like a hoof?
Yeah, a very large one.
Well, there's some good news.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna pull my crossbow and just like have it
did,
handy as I'm
did
riding,
this.
just in case.
Okay, so in order for the horses to drop the way they did, this thing needs to be mountain. So it can't be the demon that the clerics were talking about.
And it's too big for an orc. If it's neither one of those, what is it?
It's the wrong shape for a giant footprint. I don't know. It's something I hope we don't run into.
Is it look like there's a footprint in the turned in the direction we're going, or do we is there another one like it nearby?
Yeah, there's one of them similar to it, maybe 3 feet ahead of this one.
And there's
Uh,
nothing to indicate where it came from. It just appeared.
and they're
Let's see.
both headed in the same direction north that you guys are going in.
Of course they are.
But it looks like they've been there for a bit. But as the cleric said, the other group looking for this has a head start on you. So it could be them, it could be something completely different that it just happened to go in the direction that you're going in.
Well, I'm not aware of anything that's friendly that can melt the ground like this.
Mm, this is baffling.
And also, if it was the other group, you only see one set of footprints. There's no smaller orc footprints or anything. All you see is this one set of footprints.
Ouch.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it now. We can. I'd suggest keeping an eye on where we're going so the horses don't step in them anymore.
Right, maybe we ought to go single file.
The drop off from the ground to the bottom of the footprint's about 18 inches.
Yeah, poor ponies will, poor horses will twist an ankle.
So it would be better advice to go around or to go a different direction,
Oh, just to get out of the line of them so they're not.
just so the horses don't have a problem with them.
I like that idea.
Yep.
So, uh, do any of you have uh, animal kin or anything like that?
Yeah.
Because the horses are somewhat agitated, and especially the one who did actually step into the footprint is highly agitated right now.
I've got some too.
Yeah, me
And
too.
so all three of you give me an animal kin roll to see if you can calm the horses down.
Animal handling.
Yeah,
Animal handling, not Ken. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just make sure.
17 total.
14 for me.
15.
Okay. You are all able to take a minute and calm the horses down and figure out a way to go around these things so it doesn't continue to upset the horses. So you continue on your way. And as you get closer to Iron Forge, it's getting starting to get dark.
I'll be right back. Back in here.
You are because after the footprint incident, you're able to make decent time the rest of the way. Um, and as its last light is fading, you see a gate in the distance. Very large gate made out of what you would guess to be iron. Although, with it being this dark, you're not sure. What you do see is a 12-foot tall gate fence.
Is
And
it guarded?
yes, it's actually guarded But um, a, a cyclops on the one on each side of the main gate with each one has a fairly large halberd in their hand, and you'd say dwarfs them by about 3 feet, or not the bridge, the gate. And they see you coming, and they're like, "You got lucky. We were just going to close the gates."
Yeah, we just need a place to stay for the night.
Uh, we do have one small inn. We don't have, uh, well, basically, that's your only choice, unless you have friends or relatives that live in the village.
Can you show us the way to the inn?
If you go through the gate and go to your right, it's uh, it's on the far right. It's on the far right corner of the village, uh, by the fence. Um, most of the other buildings in the village are wood. This one, however, is stone. The the tavern owner decided to bring in his own building materials because he was worried about the tavern burning down if it was wood like everything else. Yeah, but you can go find out. And they escort you in, and they point turns to the right. Just follow that up as far north as and you'll run into the inn.
Thank you very much.
Hope you have
Thank
a
you.
pleasant night and a pleasant visit in our village. And with that, the two of them begin to lock the gates behind you. So you travel, you take the road and travel north, like they said. And you finally get to a small 2-story stone building. And the sign outside says Iron Forge Inn and Tavern.
Looks like the right place.
And even though there isn't currently anybody standing outside, the place does look like it's open. What do you want to do?
Well, we need to make sure we put the horses somewhere.
There is a tie-off rail outside, or there is a tree, a fairly large-sized tree, near the back corner of the building on the left side, which you could easily tie the horses to.
Not the tree. Is there enough room on the top rails for all three of us?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to tie my horse.
Yeah, I'll tie mine to the rail.
So you get that done and you walk into the tavern. And it's and so it's a standard little stone building with a fireplace to the side of the bar and several tables in the bar. And you see it's not completely full, but it's close. You are able to find a table that's fairly near the bar itself, actually. And what you find is an elderly goblin lady that is about 3.5 feet tall with gray hair down past her shoulders. Her skin is sort of grayish green. Uh, she has a little twinkle in her eye, and when she smiles, you notice she has no teeth at all. And she says, "Hello, I'm Mavis. Welcome to the Iron Forge Inn and Tavern. How can I help you?"
We need 3 rooms and dinner.
Well, dinner I can do. Let me check and see if I have 3 rooms left. If I only happen to have 2, are the 3 of you open to sharing or not?
I don't see why not.
I
So,
don't have I don't have a problem with it.
so she puts 3 menus down on the table and says, "I'll be right back. Let me go check on those rooms." She comes back and she says, "I thought I was right. I've only got 2 left." What? Uh, both are good size, but one of them is slightly bigger.
How slightly?
Big enough that 2 of you could probably sleep comfortably. You're gonna need another bed, but we can handle that. Uh, The smaller rooms in the back of the second floor, the larger rooms up near the stairs at the front.
It doesn't particularly bother me.
So, who wants which room?
Um,
I guess easiest way to say this is which two of you are sharing a room? The cat and the human, or the cat and the elf? Or the human and the elf?
Right. I mean, I don't take up too much room. I don't move around too much in my sleep. I might purr a little bit, but
I'm not going. I'm not. Nope.
Turns out you don't know it, but you have sleep apnea. So when when you snore, it's like you sound more you sound more like a lion than a house cat.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Oh.
but and since she's asleep, she doesn't hear it, so she has no idea.
Wow.
Um,
I'm not sure what to say.
mm,
I don't. I don't mind sharing a room.
okay, so uh, Arden and Meadow will share a room, and
Okay.
Arya will have the smaller room at the end of the hall. So, um, she gives you your respective keys and says, "I'll give you I'll give you a minute to look at the menus, and then I'll be back to get your dinner order." And you see her hustle back behind the bar and fix two drinks that people at the bar are waiting for. And then she comes back over. Um, she says, um, "You came on a good night. Uh, we just had some of our local mushrooms. Um, not bloom, but they are now edible. So we went and picked some of them, and we have fresh mushrooms for various things. Um,
They're edible now. What were they? They were. Never mind.
some mushrooms are edible at different times. Um, we have mm, standard fare. Uh, we have steaks. We have little bit of seafood, not much. Um, and we have stew, which everybody has. And, uh, our ale is fresh.
Mm, I like that. I think I'll just have some soup and some ale, please.
Uh, I can do that. What about the other two of you?
I'll have the stew as well, and you wouldn't happen to have anything like milk, would you?
I can check that. We, I will say we don't get a whole lot of call for milk, but I can check. And what about your companion over here?
Takes a steak with some mushrooms, wine.
I can do that. Uh, would you like red or white as far as the wine goes?
Red.
Okay, so two steaks, glass of wine, uh, or tankard of wine, tankard of ale, and see if I've got milk. So she writes,
Oh,
she
sorry.
wri- she writes it all down and says, "I'll be back with your drinks in a second," and heads off into the kitchen.
So, what do you two think about our mysterious footprints outside the town?
I hope we don't run into whatever's making them. That's all I can say.
I've never seen anything that big before. And what could have caused it? How they caused them? Makes no sense. You're looking at something that's a mountain size, but the stride was too short.
It's certainly something I've never heard of.
Um, within 5-10 minutes, the goblin lady comes back carrying the tankard of wine and the tankard of ale, and then sets them down in their places, and then she turns to you and says, I'm sorry, but we don't have milk right now.
Okay, can I just get a tankard of hot water? I mean, like the temperature you would make tea with, just hot water?
I can do that. Uh, I'll be right back. With a rather confused look on her face, she goes back to the kitchen. And a few minutes later, she comes back and sets a tankard of steaming water in front of you. Says, I'm not sure what you wanted it for, but here you go.
Thank you.
And your food will be ready in a few minutes. And she heads back over to the bar.
So I dig in my pack and I pull out this little like velvet pouch that I have my catnip in, and I'm gonna put a few put a few pinches of it into the water and make my own catnip tea.
I'm glad you're sleeping with her tonight.
What is that? You say, pointing
it's
at it.
it's catnip.
You can't mean. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think you were actually like. He's kind of stammering and trying to grasp for words.
So you make yourself a tankard of catnip tea, basically.
Hmm.
So a few minutes later, she comes back with 3 plates and sets them in front of you. Uh, I hope you enjoy your meal. If you need anything, I'll be at the bar. Just let me know.
I don't say anything, just kind of too embarrassed. Start eating my-
So I'm kind of gonna mess with Arden a little, be like, look at like, what? You've never seen catnip before? What's the deal here?
Oh, I have. I just didn't think, big cats. Uh, 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 I just thought it was, the normal kind of cats. Not that you're normal. Not that you're not normal. And
I'm just sort of laughing at him.
it's not funny. I didn't. I didn't know the stories were true. I've never met a tabaxi before.
Yeah.
All I know is what that stuff does to the cats, and I'm glad you're sleeping with her tonight.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys know what halfling weed is, and it's just sort of the same thing.
I actually don't.
Um, actually, for those who aren't familiar, halfling weed is the D&D version of weed, basically, which the halflings have the market sort of cornered on, really. Uh, I don't think catnip would have the same effect on you that that stuff does.
Not on a human, no.
From from what I've seen of regular cats that do it, they get all hyper because so where instead of
That's
being
true.
instead of being all mellowed out and everything, they get all hyper and run around and shit.
That's true.
So,
Although I guess it depends on the cat.
the amount of catnip compared to the size of the cat, I guess. But so in that aspect, Arya's right because
Yeah.
you're gonna. There's a possibility you could be bouncing off the wall before the nights are up.
Knocking things off of the dresser.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say to that.
But anyway, uh, just don't let her near any sharp objects till morning.
Isn't she herself a sharp object?
Yeah. Mm. But you guys peacefully finish your dinner when the goblin bartender comes to pick up your plates. She's like, "Oh, uh, dinner and a room, and 2 gold, and all your other meals and drinks are included."
Okay.
So,
Reach into my pocket and fish out 2 gold.
Yep.
so she clears all your dishes and takes the 6 gold and goes back to the bar. Uh, there's there's a little bit of a squabble at the bar. There's a uh, halfling and a dwarf in an argument
I was
over
just kidding about the joke from earlier.
who they're in an argument over who could drink more. The halfling is very insistent on the fact that he could outdrink a dwarf without a problem, and the dwarf is just laughing at him.
Who do you think's going to win that one?
Well, the odds should be the dwarf, but
Yeah, my money's on the dwarf.
I don't know. During a trip to the Imperial City, I once saw a halfling circus troupe drink pretty much everyone under the table. They closed the bar down. Granted, there weren't any dwarfs around at the time, but it wouldn't surprise me.
the the halflings here's this here's bits and pieces of your conversation, and it only serves to I won't say annoy him, but it makes him even more determined to outdrink this dwarf. And this is a mountain dwarf. He's slightly bigger than your average hill dwarf. And he just thinks this little halfling who's just slightly more than half his size. He thinks it's incredibly amusing that this halfling thinks he can outdrink him. And he looks up at the goblin bartender with a look on his face like, if I do this, who's going to pay for it? Yeah, good. And the goblin bartender says, I'll cover it for now because I want to see it. And um, we can work out some sort of, repayment. Maybe she's looking around the tavern going, there's got to be some stonework that you know you c- you can do for me, so we'll just trade. And the dwarf's like, it works for me. Just let me know what you want. And, yeah, keep keep my tankard full, and I'll show you how fast I can dump this uh, halfling. So, so this starts right next to you. They're little. They're literally a bar stool apart from you, and this starts. And naturally, the first couple of tankards on each side, they don't have a problem, you know. But come the third tankard, where the dwarf has no problem, but the halfling gets about halfway through the tankard, and basically his head hits the bar. So he's laying there, he's sitting there, face against the bar. The the half full tankard looks like it's about to fall off the bar. And the dwarf gets the bartender to give him um, fourth tank a fourth tankard and goes, "See, I told you it wouldn't take very long." The goblin bartender smiles and climbs up over the bar to reach the tankard that looks like it's about to fall and goes, "Don't want to waste any of this, it's expensive." Yeah. And this apparently happens often enough that nobody even notices them. You know, they're going about their business and they don't even notice this happened. You know,
Right.
Well, who would?
except uh, a couple of elves that are in the place start pointing at the halfling and snickering a lot. It's like halflings can't hold their alcohol. And then they go back to whatever they're doing. So, so what do you guys do after you're done with dinner? It's probably around eight, 8ish or so.
Um, now, if there is anything else you two want to discuss, whatnot, I think I'll make my way up to my room.
How full is the tavern or the inn, the rest where we're eating?
Yeah. I'd say it's about 3/4 full, and if you were to count the people, counting the waitress and the bartender, there's probably 35 people.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the bartender if he minds if I play. I'm going to uh, play my flute. Maybe try to get some tips.
The the guy, you, uh, well, make me a persuasion roll and
After
see.
catnip tea?
Yeah, persuasion. Okay.
Persuade.
Ouch.
That's 14
I
total.
walked into that one. Persuade.
I'm I'm not saying anything. um, you catch the bartender by surprise a bit because she wasn't expecting this. But she's like, if all you're playing for is tips and I don't have to pay for it and you're any good, go for it. She, she puts an empty tankard on the bar and she basically introduces you and tells the people in the bar that you're going to play for them. And the ones who are actually still sober uh, are a bit surprised and they clap here and there. And yeah, the others 6 tables where the people's faces are face down on the table. They don't know what the hell's going on,
Right.
including the uh, halfling still unconscious at the bar. You get your flute out and you get everything set up. And give me a performance check.
You know I'm gonna say it. A
Well,
performance check?
now, should I have that done with disadvantage for that or not?
Yes.
Seriously? So am I rolling with disadvantage?
No.
No, good.
Oh, come on.
I'll give you this one. What?
You guys
What?
can't take a pun, huh?
So
Okay,
what'd you get?
let's see. Performance 15.
Okay. Well, you play well enough that after your first song, people actually applaud and drop a few coins in the tankard on the bar. Do you keep going?
Yeah, I'll do like 4 or 5 songs before I head up to bed because it is getting late.
Okay. I'll have you do one more check for the other 4 songs.
Okay. Yeah, that's a dirty 20. No, sorry, 19.
The other 4 songs go just as well as the first one, and by the time you're done, the tankard on the bar is actually almost half full.
Yeah.
And when you finally put your flute away and check the amount of coins in the tankard, uh, there's, let's see, there's actually 50 copper coins in the tankard.
Nice.
The goblin bartender is somewhat surprised. Said if you want to keep doing that on the nights that you're here, give me a little more notice and we can set something up.
All right. I think we're probably gonna head on tomorrow, but thank you.
If you're ever back through this way, because if I had a little time to do a little bit of advertising, I could probably fill this place up. But in any case, um, so after her stunning performance, uh, stunningly unexpected, what are the 3 of you gonna do?
Head up to my room.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Okay. So do the 3 of you crash for the evening?
I think that's reasonable. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not going to crash right away.
Yeah. As you guys get up from your table to head to your room, the previously unconscious halfling slowly starts to wake up. And he notices the dwarf is still there. And when the dwarf sees the halfling wake up, he starts laughing. And the halfling is immediately pissed off. He's too drunk to do anything, but he's seriously pissed off. And you hear him yelling at the uh, dwarf in slurred halfling language as you guys are walking up the steps to your room. So you each get to your room, put the key in the door opens. It's a standard room, bed, small fireplace, uh, small table with a chair, uh, wash basin, that sort of thing. So Uh, LaFall, you said you weren't going to bed right away. What is it that Ariel wants to do?
Oh, I gotta call my eagle in and uh, feed and pet and whatnot. Stretch my wings out.
Hmm. You hear your pet's voice in the back of your head goes, if you don't use those pretty soon, they're gonna fall off.
No, they won't. And I'm not ready to use them yet for everyone to think I'm a damn angel.
Well, and then you hear, wouldn't it be better if they thought you were an angel than an elf?
No, because then they're always trying to capture me to make them wishes come true and all.
Well, yeah, I guess 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 that does get annoying.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that particular angle.
So that's why it's much better that everybody knows what I am, and they know that eagles don't do that sort of thing. So
Don't give me lip.
what are companions supposed to give you then? Yeah, you hang around too many humans.
For right now, till my damn quest is done.
Well,
I'm not talking about the one I'm on right now. I'm talking about the one that we're both on. You and me personally are on.
yeah,
Searching for escaped invaders.
yeah. Well, that's a little harder to deal with because nobody's supposed to know what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. You need to solve this whole crystal thing so we can get back to that.
Well, maybe we can solve it on this crystal journey.
Yeah. And after you're done talking and eating and, you know, all that, he sort of perches on the windowsill over by the window. And so, what does Arden do once you make it up to your room?
I want to find a reasonably quiet part of the just to meditate. I think
Okay.
been,
And
it's been a crazy day. I found out so much about cats.
so, this is just you're meditating to calm down for the day, or
Yeah,
well, you can easily do that. Although there is a lot of distraction noise. coming from the bar below you. But taverns are always loud, so you're pretty much used to that. What is Meadow doing?
I guess I'll just, get settled in bed. I mean, I have to, get the covers just perfect,
Right.
of course.
I thought you'd be
snuggle.
getting yourself a cat bath.
I only do that in private, and nobody needs to watch me groom.
Oh, although you do end up making a considerable mess on the floor as you're, trying
Pushing blankets
right,
off.
trying to do the whole nest thing. Yeah, you being as large as you are, it just ends up making a mess on the floor. Yeah. And with that, the day closes. I'm gonna pause right here for a second and say that it's 10:18 my time. How are the two of you doing energy wise? Do you want to end it here? Do you want to go further? Or what do you want to do?
I think for me, this is about a good spot.
I mean, this is a good place to end. Let's go to bed for the night. So.
Yeah, because you guys being in different time zones, it's later for you guys. So. Okay, we will call it for the night then and start the next time with you getting up and hopefully finding out more information in the Iron Forge.
Hey, if she spends the night hacking hairballs up,
Uh,
Why do you
that,
think I didn't groom? There's no way you need to see all that.
aw,
and that would definitely interrupt your meditation.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? When you're a parent or like a fur parent, and that noise,
Yeah.
you don't need coffee.
Yeah.
You don't need caffeine. I promise you that is an instant wake up. If you
Yeah.
don't know,
Just what Arden would need to walk into Meadow's room and have Meadow barf all over him.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
At which point he would silently go back to meditating and
Right.
never say another word.
Yeah, no. Let us never speak of this again.
Yes.
Right. I'd have to bring you a dead mouse as an apology gift.
Oh my god.
And, and,
I'm done. Nope, I can't.
and then we'd have to figure out. I'd have to roll to see if you suddenly developed a phobia against tabaxis or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm having too much fun playing this as a cat. I'm not going to stop anytime soon.
Playing it straight as a cat.
Every time you see a tabaxi from then on, you just slowly back away.
Aw.
Because, yeah. Either that or you cast Shield of Faith, so if they barf on you, it'll sort of deflect it. One or the other.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't. I'll bet you nobody's ever used that spell for that before.
Oh my gosh, probably not. Oh wow. Excuse me. Okay, I had fun, folks.
Yep.
Again, I'm sorry for last time.
Oh, not a problem. We we eventually get these things in. Uh, and you did make some progress tonight, so that is a good thing.
All right. You all have
Now,
a good night. Oh wait.
now you know there's something very large who's
Can melt the
follow,
ground with its footprint.
yeah, who's following. Well, no, they're ahead of you, so you're following it.
Didn't think to ask anybody if that group had been through here.
Yeah, well,
We can ask them next time.
yeah. You've always got breakfast in the morning. But right now, what you really want to know is the halfling is still alive or not.
Possibly.
So, but anyway, I hope when people see this, they enjoy it as much as we did because that was fun. And uh, like and subscribe and join Discord and all that stuff. And you can jump on Discord and talk to us and see if you're as crazy as we are. But so, and next week we should be doing vampire unless something happens.
All right.
And so I should get this up in the next 48 hours. Uh, go buy Robin's new book for Christmas. It came out, what, just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, October 14th, I think it came out. But hey, buy all 7 of them. Easy reads. They're short stories.
She, she's got to support Sean. Come on, guys. Yeah. Yeah. And holidays are coming up, so
Mhm.
give them to all your relatives. And then, speaking of holidays, the last Cthulhu for Halloween, it's up on the channel now. Uh, Robin's character died a horrible death, like she always does.
Yep.
Uh, I keep telling her she needs to carry weapons, but then again, human weapons don't do anything against these guys, so it's like, eh.
No, that's kind of a little important detail there.
Well, even in the Cthulhu manual, it says avoid combat at all costs because the most hit points character gets is 10, and you can just die too easy in combat. So it says avoid it at all costs.
Noted.
But the the Eldridge monsters usually win anyway, so like uh it's just a question of how you want to die, not if you're gonna die.
Right.
So, um, but yeah, that came out just what we did that last Saturday, so it's been
Hmm.
out for a week. And the Thanksgiving one is coming up in 3 weeks or so. So stay tuned for that.
All right.
I think that's all I got for now,
See you
unless
next time.
any of you have anything you want to talk about.
I'm good.
Nope.
Well, then, thank you for watching, and thanks to my players for playing and having fun. And we'll see you guys next Saturday.
All right.
Night.
Yeah.